Hello, hello. I am Cassie Brown, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Amplify My Impact podcast. After years of consulting and managing programs for some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry, I am on a mission to expand our contribution, to grow, scale, and create more so we can do and give more. This podcast celebrates entrepreneurs who are boldly stepping up to own their calling, expand their influence, and stretch outside their comfort zone, who've decided to stop playing it small, pick up the mantle of contribution, and serve at a higher level to lead by example and light the way for others. If that's you, then get ready to amplify. There's a fire that burns inside your soul, and we're going to ignite it into a roaring blaze of unstoppable momentum. Hey guys, Cassie Brown here, and today I have the incredible Miss Catherine Jones, the one and only. She is the mastermind and founder of Design Hacking and CF Design School. So you may have heard her name. You may have seen her speak on stage at FHL. What was that? I feel like we're like decades into COVID.
It was this year. Can you believe it? It feels like we've lived a lifetime since then. Hashtag 2020.
I almost said 2019, and then I was like, wait a second, that was this year.
I know.
Oh, my word. Like, if we could just make it through 2020, I think this is the year participation trophies are golden.
Yes, we believe in those. We believe in those.
So welcome, Catherine. I'm so glad that
you're here. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Any time spent with you is time well spent. So I'm so grateful. We were just talking about, she was on my show earlier last week, and we're like, we need to figure it out. So like just every other week, we just come back and forth on each other's show, just scheduled friend time, basically.
I think it should be like a special segment.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Let's figure that out. So for those of you who are listening and you know Catherine, you know her heart, you know the dynamic of her personality. The thing I appreciate most about you is what you see is what you get. And there's not a lot of people in the world like that. But for those who are listening who may not know you or know your story, I definitely want to give you the opportunity to share and catch them up. And for me, to have peace of mind that they can go to sleep tonight knowing why Catherine Jones is so awesome.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're so nice. Okay. Long story short, for those of you that are like, who the heck is this chick? Who the heck is this chick? My name's Catherine, and I help people present stories that convert across all mediums with the intention to build seven-figure movements. That's what we do. Help people build movements. And, but how did that whole thing come to be? It's so funny, Cassie, because let me just tell you, I never in my life did I actually even think I would be an entrepreneur. Like that wasn't even like, let alone this like huge movement leader. And so it's so crazy because it started when I was in college. I left college for a year and a half to do a mission trip for my church, went to Los Angeles. It was amazing. And then came back, saw the world a little bit, and came back and like the really annoying millennial. Like I actually want to apologize on behalf of my generation because it's my fault. Like I'm the one perpetuating the stereotypes because I came home and I was just like, I just want to help people. You know what I mean? It was like, what does that even mean? Like nobody knows. But like I was just like, I just have to save the world. And I had no idea what that looked like. But I figured it might be easier if I had money. I don't know. It might be easier. So I tried to switch my major to business. My school's like, sweetheart, you have way too many credits. You just need to get out of here. And that in hindsight was like the best thing that ever happened because I was like, well, I guess I got to figure it out on my own. So again, with no intention to be an entrepreneur, literally it was just like, how can I figure out how to make money so I could give it back? I started reading personal finance books, which led me to investment books, which like, you know, they're all friends with each other. So then all of a sudden I'm reading like self-help, I'm getting retargeted, and all of a sudden people are selling me online courses. And for whatever reason, this just like catches hold of my soul. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm learning, but like I couldn't look away. And so people start selling me courses on like how to do an email marketing campaign and how to build an online course. And I'm like, I don't even know what this stuff is, but this is cool, right? And so I literally start buying these online courses with credit cards that I should not have applied for, right? Like on like the biggest payment plans because I'm in college, right? Like I'm like no money. And I just become fascinated with this world. And all of a sudden I realized, I remember the day when I was like, holy smokes, you can actually make money online. Like you actually, like, that's not this like weird, it's like there, you can do it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
I think
it's legit, like not a scam, right?
yes. And I was like, people, like normal people are doing this. I was like, oh my gosh. And that was the moment when I was like, I made this really conscious decision to not make school a priority. And I was like, I just literally, we're just going to graduate. And I just decided if I would normally spend 10 hours on a paper, I'd cut it in half, 5. Whatever was done in 5, I'd turn it in. And those remaining hours, I would learn how to sell stuff online. And I think another reason why I was so passionate about that was because I actually come from a family, there's 8 kids. So I'm number 2 of 8. God bless my mom. She was pregnant for all of the 90s. But it was so fun. And so I always wanted to be like my mom and my dad. I always wanted to have a family like them, but I also knew I wanted my life to look a little bit different. Like I had this, whatever you want to call it, thing inside me that was like, I got millennial, who knows, right? Where it's like, I gotta save the world. I gotta take over the world. And so when I discovered the internet, right, that you can do stuff online, I was like, holy smokes, like maybe if I'm just not an idiot about how I build this stuff, like maybe if I'm just not stupid, I could figure out how to have simultaneous yet significant impact both inside and out of my home one day. Like I could actually take over the world and be such a dope present mother one day. Like, could I do that? And so I think it just became like next level obsession, full-fledged next level obsession, to a point where I started a marketing agency, and our results were honestly, sometimes great, sometimes terrible, and just really inconsistent. And I think that inconsistency, coupled with this like desire to be like, I just want to be a mom and take over the world one day, I think that led me to probably dig deeper than most, to be like, I have got to figure out how to make this work every time. Like I can't, if I have 4 niños running around me, like I don't have time to figure out why it's not working. So I need to figure out now why it's not working. And that led me to understand that there are actually systems and frameworks and formulas for getting your products and services out into the world where people actually embrace them, and not just buy, but actually start to become an evangelist for your brand, where they're not just like, okay, cool product, Catherine, but they're like, holy smokes, like we will follow you to the ends of the earth. And I think from that spurred this unanticipated movement, which then all of a sudden it was like, holy smokes, we figured out how to do this for us. Can we do this for others? And from there, we've become this movement, if that makes sense. And so again, all because I was a really annoying millennial. And here we are, X amount of years later, helping other people take over the world.
I love that. I love that about you, just because like I am technically on the cusp. I was born in 1981. Nice. So like we have this weird spot in the cutoff period, because like I had a few people that was calling me a millennial, and I was like, no, I'm not. And then I looked it up and like, oh, well, there is the gray area, right? Yeah. But it's one of those things, but I think it is a level of awareness. Like I remember being in middle school and telling my mom I didn't want to buy aerosol hairspray anymore because it was putting holes in the ozone layer, right? Yes. Like we're a product, and this is probably what was on the news or whatever our science teacher, like we're a product of our environment, like, so I made my family stop using styrofoam plates. Like, so I share the save the world mentality with you, like one styrofoam plate at a time, sister.
Yes, let's go.
So, but I think it's true though. If profitability and positive revenue cash flow is a must in a business, why can't you dig deeper and also be able to make an impact? Yes. Right? Like,
and I think too, it's really interesting. I think a lot of people enter the online space, right? Just being like, oh, I need to make money, or I just got to figure this out. And in reality, I think they actually misdiagnose what's happening, right? Like, oh, if only I could have money, then I could do this. If only I had money, then I'd feel free. And I think the reason why they misdiagnose is because all of a sudden they make money and they still feel the same. And so what we found with the people that we brought inside of what we do is, hi, let's actually diagnose what's happening with you right now, right? Like what's actually happening is you have something inside of you that needs to get out. It's like there is a message, there is a movement, there is something inside of you that literally is eating you alive. And it's this curse, right? Because once you recognize it and once you acknowledge it, unless you do something, it just doesn't go away. And for a long time for me, that was inside me and I had no idea what it was, but I was like, oh, I got to do something. And it was like I was bursting out of my skin, right? And so again, I think sometimes people are like, well, if I could just figure out how to make money, it'd be fine. But but then once they do that again, they're not satisfied. It's because we are seeking to build businesses instead of what we truly need and what the world actually is aching for, which is instead we need to build movements. And a movement is simply, it's a mass of people that both believe and live a singular story. And if you can do that, that's when the impact comes. You're not just building products and services, but simultaneously you're building people. And that's when the world changes. That's when the take over the world thing happens. And I think what's been so fun about this vehicle of design hacking that we teach it through is like, holy smokes, there actually is a way to do that. There actually is a way to build a movement in a way that not only has significant impact, but as just, simply a byproduct. Where it's like, yeah, you're gonna get some cash in your pocket.
Yeah, I love that. And I really want to slow down and kind of draw some attention to that, because I, in my experience with coaching and even with 2CCX, like I had a roster of over 100 students at any point in time. And like, it was always that one question: how can I make money? How can I bring in revenue? And that's just the wrong question. Mm-hmm. The question to be asking is, how can I impact people's lives? How can I create a repeatable solution and a process that will impact people?
Yes.
Because that's where that happy medium lives, right?
Oh,
and like you said, you can totally go out there and make money, and then you can get burnt out and you can feel empty, and then you can feel like you're still going to feel like something's missing in your life. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think entrepreneurs have such a unique skill set and power that drive them forward. They're going to be continuing to seek, unless they put their finger on what they're truly trying to create. Mm-hmm. They'll still continue to seek.
Yes.
And maybe that's where shiny object syndrome, I don't know, but maybe we're onto something here.
Well, I think one thing that's interesting, I have two people that are coming up in my coaching program right now, and they're brand new. So this is like pretty typical when somebody starts, right? And they've acknowledged the fact that they have been building the wrong thing, right? Or seeking to build the wrong thing. They're like, oh, I'm selling products, I'm not building a movement. And but it's really interesting. I think the first person that I think about where this comes into play, going back to your 2 comical decks, right? This particular woman, she is terrified to charge for her services. Terrified, because she's like, if I charge, then I'm not making an impact, right? Because I should give them everything possible. So like, even though my services actually are worth $5,000, I'm going to charge $150. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, but I don't know. I don't want to turn them away, and I want to help as many people as possible, and blah, 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 blah. And I think what's so cool is, and we had this huge breakthrough, right? Where it's like, okay, you're the leader of the 7-figure movement. And so as part of the 7-figure movement, we're not only building a business, right? We're building people. And so let's say if we were to take your ideal person and take them to like this ideal level where you think they should be inside this movement, what would that require of you? And she's like, oh, this and this and this and this and this. And I was like, awesome. So if you were to eliminate all these things that you were doing, right? Like, would you be able to help them in that way? And she was like, well, no, blah. I was like, okay, cool. So let's talk about a movement, right? Like, is it better to help one person at $5,000 get to 100%? Or is it better to help 100 people get to 20% for $150? And you're all none of you are in the right place. You're in a bad place because you don't have money, and they're in a bad place because they only got 20% of the result. And she just had this light bulb moment. And I said, I think what's so fun is that when we start to play this game strategically, we realize that there are loads and loads and loads of people who are desperate to get the 100% result. So they are more than willing to pay the $5,000. But I think because we have all these scripts in our head, we're like, ugh, and in reality, it's like, you can actually have significant impact and make significant money. It's all about lining up the two and finding those things, which I just think it's just so fascinating. I think that there's this discrepancy between, I can't have impact if I charge money. Yeah. When in reality, it is your moral obligation to charge people what you are worth and what will be required for them to reach this goal if you're going to lead them on this quest. And I think those are some of the most fun things when you realize that they're not these mutually exclusive things, right? like impact versus money. Like you
No.
actually can and should play the same game simultaneously.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think there's a synergy and there's a compounding effect when those two are in alignment. Like you're going to get better impact and you're going to get better income, because here's the thing. And I explain it similar to the way that you took it, is when we work with our clients, I explain to it like this: like, if you are truly driven to create change, wouldn't you rather write your own check for it? You know, like that became my aha moment within our family. Like, we love supporting local kids, local charities, local businesses, local everything. And I love not having to do fundraisers, or if like the kids come home or a neighborhood kid knocks on our door or whatever, like we can just write the check. Right. And that's just small. Like, that's super small. Like, I have clients who they've built an orphanage in Africa. Like, could you imagine being able to fund that? Like, yes, go out, make an impact, and then leverage the income that you create to pay it forward even more for others.
Yes. And so, I think too, it's like, I think there are a lot of ways to lead. I don't think, I mean, I have friends that have started and work at 501c3s, nonprofits. And it's amazing and it's beautiful. And the sacrifice that they give is extraordinary, but it truly is a choice. It's just like, how do you want to lead? How do you want to lead? And what resources do you want to be available to you to be able to lead, right? And so I look at my friends who are the heads of these 501c3s, and their ability to have impact is limited to the one resource of time and ability, right? Time and ability. And I think as leaders of seven-figure movements and beyond, right? Like, if we're going to have impact, I think it requires one of three things. It requires, your ability to have time, money, and network, right? Time, money, and network. When you have unlimited time, you can have impact. When you have unlimited money, you can have impact. And when you have a network, right, which includes not only connections, but a tribe of followers, you're able to do certain things. For example, it's like, listen, there might be somebody that has a ton of time and they might be one of the richest people in the world, but if nobody knows who they are, people won't follow them. Whereas if you have an Oprah, right? If you have an Oprah who's like, listen, I need 20 volunteers to be in New York City in the next 2 hours, right? To help with all things COVID or to help with refugees. I'm telling you what, that girl would have more than 20 in 20 minutes, right? Why is that though? Because she has been able to create a mass of people that both believe and live a singular story. And so it really just depends. I don't think there's necessarily, there's so many ways that you can have impact. But I think that it's our decision. And ultimately, I think as entrepreneurs and creatives, our responsibility to figure out, is there a strategic way where I could, as you use the word, amplify, right? Our ability to have impact by organizing and structuring our life so that we have unlimited time, unlimited money, and an unlimited network. Because it's when we marry those three that we're really able to point in a direction and saying, this is what we're going to go tackle, ready, go. This is what we're going to go tackle, ready, go. And I think without one of those appendages, we're limited in our ability to do that.
Yeah. All right. So I want to shift gears here for a second.
Yeah.
When you talk about, you know, that being strategic and being creative.
Yeah.
I love watching you be strategic and creative because I feel like there's a part of you, and I love this about you, that finds and identifies the status quo and then just creates strategies around how to obliterate it. And I just watched you do this in two different ways. You did a series of what a lot of people would think of as completely impossible challenges, and within like 24-hour time periods and things like that. But you've also been very open and vulnerable about sharing your journey. And I think that's really unique, not only as an entrepreneur, as a millennial, but also as a woman. So like the second part of this interview, I really want to dive into those challenges and how you pretty much look in the face of, I can't, it's impossible. Like it's, you know, that famous quote, like nobody believed a 4-minute mile could be beat until somebody beat it. And then
like within 10 days, like 20 people did it or something like that. You're like, what's happening?
Yeah. So I felt like this was your little beating the 4-minute mile. And you did it. Was it a series of 10 days?
we're actually still in the midst of it.
My goodness.
We have like 6 more days left. But yeah, I think we're about 9 or 10 days in right now.
Yeah. And I love it because it's breaking the mold and false beliefs, and it's helping people see, like, sometimes it's just our unwillingness to accept a new reality, right?
Totally.
So how many books did you end up reading in your time?
So maybe for some context, so I have an event coming up, Design Hacking Live. It's happening the 25th and 26th of September. And again, in effort to not be the status quo, right? Like, one of the things that's cool about a movement, like, how do you start a movement? The way that you start a movement is that you start providing tangible results with a vehicle that rejects the accepted evils of your competitors. So for example, my product, CF Design School, how to design funnels that convert. What are the accepted evils that everybody says that you have to do to be able to do that? You need to have coding and Photoshop and graphic design skills. And I was like, nah, I think you shouldn't have to be able to do that, right? And when you say, hey, we can get you this really sexy, tangible result in a vehicle that does not require the tangible or the accepted evils, that's when you have something for people to rally around. That's kind of like the very base of what this movement is. And so similarly, right, we have this event coming up. It switched virtual because of COVID. And I was like, over my dead body, am I going to put people in a Zoom room for 2 days and have somebody talk at them? Like, who wants to be talked at in a Zoom room for 24 hours? It's like, nobody wants that, right? And so, in speaking with my team, I was like, okay, guys, listen, we're gonna change the game here. Like, what are the accepted evils of virtual events? And how can we just not do any of them? Like, how can that just like not be a thing for us? So in doing that, we came up with this like gorgeous, beautiful experience that people will go through in the next 2 weeks. But because of that, it's going to require a lot more of our people, right? Like, hey, this is not a passive event. Like, we're going to ask you to do big, significant things over the course of those next 2 days that will result in the way that your business came when you started. It's going to look different at the end of those 2 days. So in effort to prep these people to make these big moves, to get big results, we're like, let's just get people in the headspace where they can do these like seemingly impossible things if it's a decision, right? And if you design hack, if you're smart about how you do it. So again, we created this like series of 15 challenges all over the map, like do 1,000 push-ups in a day. I'll tell you the rankings and worst to hardest to easiest. The hardest one for sure, because it was so uniquely challenging. Like it was different. It was weird pain. Like I hadn't felt pain like this before. Me and my brother, he was super nice to do it with me, but we ran a marathon, but in a day. So it was more difficult because you had to run 1.1 miles for 24 hours straight. So you couldn't like batch out 6 miles and then rest for a little bit. It was like every hour on the hour you had to run a mile. I'm telling you what, for the first 13 miles, you're feeling great. You're like, this is actually kind of fun. Then you get to about the 3 a.m. to the 6 or 7 a.m. where it's like, you got to sleep. It's brutal, right? Because you run a mile and then you maybe, if you're lucky, fall asleep for 20 minutes. And then you're like, I got to get back up. And then you're just confused because then you run, so you're not tired. And then you're like, I don't know what's happening. So that one was tricky. I did a 10-minute ice bath, which was also uniquely painful, right? Like neck down, you don't feel great. You're not feeling good. But we did 1,000 push-ups, write a book in a day, read 600 pages in a day. Today is get rejected 100 times in a day, which I am so excited for. Literally, I'm just going to be like, what's everything that I've ever wanted to do? And I'm just going to ask for it. And I already don't have it. So who cares? Who cares when I get shut down? It's like, oh my gosh, let's see how many like huge publications we can get featured in. Let's just go write every single editor. You know what I'm saying? But again, all in the effort to do that. So again, the other night, one of them was, could I pound out 600 pages of reading in a sitting, like in a single sitting, right? And it was amazing. I was able to do it. And I think by employing like, hey, how could I think about this differently? How could I play this game differently? And like implementing speed reading tactics and strategizing and different things like that. It has been fascinating, even for me, right, who planned this campaign, to see how it's getting so much easier. Like writing a book in a day, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so easy. I did that after I ran a marathon. I'm like, I just get to sit for like 6 hours. I'm like, that's so easy. I was like, are you kidding me?
That's a dream. That's a cakewalk. Give me something harder.
Oh gosh. And anyway, so it's been so fun. And to see so many other design hackers like playing into that and doing the challenges with us, I think it's been amazing. But I do. You want to know what's something crazy, Cassie? So there is something called Parkinson's Law. Have you ever heard of Parkinson's Law before?
I need a refresher.
Okay,
I feel like
so
I just
listen,
read it.
I just learned about this like 2 months ago, and the awareness of this concept has changed my life significantly. But essentially, there was this, I don't even know what he was, scientist, philosopher, I can't be sure. His last name was Parkinson's. And Parkinson's Law states that work expands to the amount of time allotted.
Yes, I did just read that in our Not Your Mama's book club.
Yes.
On the pages, Amplify book club.
Yes, let's go. Yes, work expands to the amount of time allotted. And so it's like, listen, if you have 3 weeks to put together a project, you'll take 3 weeks. If you have 30 minutes and like it's really due in 30 minutes, like you'll figure it out. Like you will absolutely figure it out. And my team and I, we set I would say some pretty ambitious goals for Q3. Like we have an event, we've launched a coaching program, and we did a huge Facebook group launch as well. Like we've been a little bit busy. All the while, like one of my biggest team members had a baby, and like it was a little bit insanity, but that again is the beauty and the challenge with my team is we're all just like, let's do it. Like if anything's fun, right? We're like, let's make it happen. And so because of that, I knew going into this quarter, I had to learn to operate differently than I currently was. Like I just had to learn to operate differently. And in speaking, I was voxing Marley Jacks yesterday because she has an event coming up at a similar time. And she's like, I'm so grateful for events. And I said, tell me more about that. And she was just like, it has forced me to find pockets in my brain that I didn't know existed, like superpowers, simply because there's so much to do in so little amount of time and so many different things to do than I've done before. And I was like, I could not relate with that more. And so I think this practice of these 15 days challenges has done the exact same thing where it's like, wow, if you would have asked me even a month ago, right, to write a book in a day, I would have been like, I don't really know if that's quite possible, right? But because I literally I've just run a marathon a day. I'm like, are you kidding me? Please. I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. And being able to look and do like, oh, I did 1,000 push-ups in an hour and a half. It was like, oh, wow. Oh my gosh. I didn't know I was capable of something like that. And it really just expands your ability of what it is that you're able to do. And again, in igniting that, I think within your followers as well has been so fun.
Yeah. So I love that law. But I think you also we need to name this law, that I think when you consistently, intentionally step into areas that challenge and push you outside of your comfort zone, that your capacity equally increases. And I would even argue even more so, like with Parkinson's Law, it's one of those things where the amount of time that it takes to complete the task will expand to the time that you allotted. But I think when we continue to push ourselves outside of those comfort zones and to crush what we thought was possible, that the next thing that comes our way, it's like done. Done.
It's not scary anymore. It's a task to be done. It's like, okay, cool. And almost even too, like that's almost neutral, right? Task to be done. All of a sudden you're like, oh, that sounds fun. Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, are you kidding me? Like literally today, I'm like, I can't wait to go get rejected 100 times. I'm going to learn. It's going to be amazing. Right. And I actually think it will be hard. I think it will be hard to get rejected 100 times in the day.
Yeah, you're going to have to. I love the way you shared your mom. Like can you Venmo me like $1 million?
Yes, I legitimately, my mom's so funny. She was like, Catherine, what's your challenge today? I was like, get rejected 100 times. She was like, wait, text me, ask me to do anything. I want to be your first rejection. I was like, oh, listen, the unanticipated support I was looking for. But yeah, I think you're totally right. I think another thing too, we were talking about like intentionally putting yourself in situations that cause you to expand and stretch. Yeah. I was just journaling on this yesterday. One of my favorite scriptures, I just am just like a Jesus loving lady. And I really believe that God answers prayers. And there's a scripture that says that God will, in speaking back to us, he'll let us know in our mind and in our hearts. And when when it makes sense here and it feels right here, we can with confidence move forward in that direction. And one of the things that I realized yesterday, because there are a lot of things in my business and my life and relationships and like different things like that, where like there are big moves to be made, where you're like at this point. And I remember having the impression yesterday during my studies where it's like, listen, I think there's so often, whether God or the universe, it doesn't matter, right? Like, or just your own awareness. Like there are times when things make sense in our head and in our heart, but it's still our decision on whether or not we're going to move forward on it. Like how many times have people been prompted, hey, you need to build something more than you're building? Or, hey, you need to reach out to this person. Or, hey, you need to step up here. Or, hey, you need to take control of your health. Like how many times have we had those where like, that makes sense and I feel that in my heart, but we don't move. Yep. And I think that's where the superpower comes, where it's like taking an inventory and intentionally putting yourself, it's like taking an inventory is like, where have been the impressions that I've received where it's like, hey, you should do this. And it makes sense in your head and it feels right in your heart, but you just haven't had maybe even the courage to move forward on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where your capacity to lead as a movement leader, right, comes, where you're just like, I am continually analyzing these impressions that are coming to me and making a conscious decision to move forward on them.
Yeah. And that's where the rubber meets the road. I mean, it breaks my heart how many people have incredible ideas, but they never like share them with the world, you know, out of whatever reason, like, and they have incredible intentions, they have great solutions. And like you said, like it's all in alignment, but there's that fear and uncertainty there that is just like crippling, like freezing in your boots, like crippling. So you said a phrase when you were explaining the level of assertiveness and aggressiveness that you guys were laying out with these challenges, like big, significant things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about that as because I don't know if you're aware, maybe you are, but there is a part of all of us that every time that we step out and succeed and we stretch ourselves outside of our comfort zones, and there's like this sisterhood of women in business and women entrepreneurs that we all rise together. Like there's, if you look at that in sort of like through the filter of abundance, right? When you make strides and when you win, I win, we win, right? Oh, yeah. And I want to highlight one of the stories from one of your challenges, by the way, that you wrote a book in a day, which, you know, like there's authors, I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones fan or, you know, whatever, but like some authors take 10 freaking years to write a book, right? And you did it in a day. And I read one of the stories, and one of them, I think you could have a whole storyline over just this one story, because for me, it like cracked the surface on so many things that women go through. And so I really wanted to kind of share a little bit about that. And if you don't mind, kind of sharing a little bit, like to give everybody the groundwork of the book and this particular chapter in the book, because I think all of us, especially like speaking from a woman's perspective, have experienced this same scenario that you shared.
Sure. Yes. And I couldn't agree more. And I think what's really interesting is, well, and maybe I'll talk about that at the end. So Cassie's amazing. I wrote a book in a day, and I literally just polled my audience. I was like, what should I write? I have no idea, right? I really show up. I'm like, hey guys, we gotta make this happen 6:00 at night, right? So show up and poll the group. And one of the suggestions they had was, how did you get booked to speak on Funnel Hacking Live Stage, which is one of the biggest internet marketing stages in the world? And I was like, oh, that's fun, right? Because there was a really strategic approach that happened to that. And so so the book's called How to Get Booked on Your Niche's Largest Stages, right? And released it. And so Cassie's super nice, and she binge read it sounds like. And one of the stories in there actually happens after I got asked to be booked, because I think it played a really significant role in not only like booking it, but then how do you actually go and crush it, right? Like it's one thing to get booked, it's another thing to go steal the stage, which is kind of the intention, right? You want to get asked back again and again and again. So I got asked to speak. Russell,
I actually want to interject real quick, because I think you should amend the title to your book, Steal the Stage, and then the subtitle line needs to be How to Get Booked. Okay, that was it. Nice. Continue.
Yes, thank you so much. So I got booked to speak, and that was in about like October-ish. And the end of that year, 2019, I was speaking at another event, and it was a smaller than the 5,000 event, but we were there, and the organizer of the event, super generous afterwards. He had like all his top end coaching students come, and then like all the other speakers come to this like steakhouse dinner. And so, it was like really nice steakhouse dinner. And so they had like name badges for us. And so we didn't get to choose where we sat, right? They're like, Miss Jones, welcome. And I was like, I've never felt more fancy in my life. Thank you so much. I was like, this is amazing. The same event organizer, he had somebody waiting for me at the bottom of the airport with like a sign with my name. First time that ever happened in my life. I was like, I made it. Like somebody had my name on the iPad. I never felt more important in my life. Anyway, so they walk us, they're like, Miss Jones. I sit down. And I find that as they're seating me, that I actually got sat next to another entrepreneur who is really big in the space, and he's amazing. He really is extraordinary. And I knew about him, he knew about me, but we hadn't connected yet, right? So it's not even like, oh, do you know who that is? We're like, oh yeah, and I can tell you all his accomplishments, and probably him for me, but we hadn't like bonded or talked. So when I saw that, I saw his name badge next to me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect, right? Like I totally want to bond with this dude. So he ends up sitting down, and in my book, I called him Steakhouse Guy. So Steakhouse Guy, he ends up sitting down next to me, and we're chatting, and I'm just being really inquisitive about him and his life, and he's there with his business partner. And anyway, he honestly is such a good guy, and he's super smart. And then he's like, hey, like, congrats on getting asked to speak at Funnel Hacking Live. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. And I was like, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, if I'm being honest though, like, I'm kind of like, why did he ask you? Like, I'm kind of like, why did he ask you? And I was like, that's kind of like a little bit awkward question. And he was like, I think I just don't get it. Like, why did he ask you? And it was really interesting. If you want to know my response, I just said, well, you'll have to come to Nashville and see, right? That was my response. But I thought about that response so much afterwards, where it was like, one, social awareness, not a normal question to ask, right? Two, trying to think like in that statement, let's unpack it, right? And you need to know, I am a recovering anxious attachment relationship type person. Like literally go to therapy for it, right? Where it's like an anxious attachment type, like is where there's like secure, anxious, obsessive, like all these different things. I recently learned this about myself. So enlightening for me, because once I could identify, I was like, oh my gosh, let's work on this. But again, the difference between like a secure attachment type and an anxious attachment type the example they give is if you send a text to somebody and they don't respond within the amount of time that you think they should, a secure attachment type person is just like, oh, they're probably busy. Everything's fine, right? An anxious attached person immediately goes to two things. They go, one, they hate me, and then two, they're dead, right? It's like immediately like they hate me, and if they don't hate me, they're dead, right? And it's like our minds just like worry a little bit like that. So that's how my brain is. And I'm working really hard right now to identify that. But I think because of that, I like analyzed over that situation probably more than the average person would have, right? Where I'm like, why did he say that? And I wasn't mad at him, right? I went to anxious attachment. I was like, he hates me, right? He's mad at me, right? And so I'm trying to think like, why would he be upset about that? And so I started to look, and I'm like, well, you want to know what? On a lot of different scales, he's more qualified than me, full-fledged. He has way more experience than me. He's made way more money than me. He has a ton more followers than me, right? Like, he's been in the space for way longer. And then here I come, right? This like late 20s lady who looks like she's 21 on a good day, right? It's like, I still, like literally in Nashville, they had this huge event for speakers, a bar. I was of a room of 100 people. I was the only one that got checked with an ID. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm trying to outgrow my baby face and I can't. So I'm sure he's looking at me being like, what in the world, right? So I'm like, well, he probably thinks this, and this. And then I'm thinking, okay, well then why did I get asked and he didn't get asked? What happened? Like, why did I get asked to speak on that stage and he didn't? And I'm telling you what, and I say this in not an accusatory way, truly factual, I'll tell you why. He's boring. He's actually boring. He's made a lot of money, but there is nothing prolific or new or unique about what he does. There's no reason why he should speak versus anybody else, because the solutions that he is going to give are going to be the same solutions as a million other people. For example, like there are so many people that show you how to build a Facebook group, right? But unless you have a prolific way, a new way to build a Facebook group, you're not going to be asked to speak on stages, right? So you look at my solutions and yeah, had I made less money? Sure. Did I have less following? Sure. Did I have less experience? Sure. But what did I bring to the table? It's what all my movement brings to the table, right? All my movement makers bring to the table. It's, hey, I know how to get a tangible result in a new prolific way that rejects the accepted evils of all my competitors. So because of that, I am worthy of the microphone. And I think that is what is so cool. And you were so generous and had me on your show, even like a month ago, even, where there was this whole thing was like, how do you beat a machine? Like, how do you beat these huge companies? And you beat them with a movement, but how does that work? When you have something prolific to say, when you can attain a tangible result in a new prolific way that rejects the accepted evils of your competitors, then you're worthy of the microphone. And that's honestly how it happened. And so again, I'm actually really grateful for his, like, I don't even think maybe he was being passive aggressive. Maybe he was being aggressive. If I'm being honest, I'll give that dude the benefit of the doubt. I think he genuinely was like reeling. I think he was just looking at me being like, how in the world are you speaking above me? I don't even think he was trying to be mean, you know? But I'm grateful that he said that because it really helped me to identify, hey, you can win the game. You can win the game even if you have less followers, even if you have less experience, even if you've made less money, but you need to have something worthwhile to say. And that's what went down. So there's a section of my book, you guys, How to Take Over the World, win on all the stages.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh. That was just on so many levels. Like you tell a lot of stories, right? And I love you, girl. Like you pop up and I listen to the stories. And so, but of them all so far, this has been my favorite. Like that has been my favorite because it's what we all feel internally. Like we've said that before. Our own internal voices have said that before. Like, why did you get picked? Or, why me? Or, opposite, why not me? Right. And to have this be like a real physical conversation, it's almost like, hold on, is this a Twilight universe? Like what you said, like social awareness.
Yes. You're like, steakhouse guy, be better, yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. But I'm grateful for it too. And I'm just going to love on Mr. Anonymous Steakhouse Guy with heaps of grace because he just didn't know what he ignited.
Yes.
And equally so, I think you're going to ignite a lot more people in sharing that story because those are the key things. So if you've hung with us this far, this is, definitely one of the longer podcast episodes. Like if you've been paying attention, it doesn't matter how much money you've made. It doesn't matter how many followers or how few you have, just as long as you're willing to step up, create something incredible to make your mark and change on the world, right? Create something that changes someone's lives in small ways that just leaves it better than you found it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like he was missing the mark. There's strategies and there's tactics. And then there is just transformation that truly touches people deeper. Mm. And that's what a lot of people are missing. Like, and it sounds simple. It sounds simple to say it, but actually doing it is hard work.
Yeah. And I think it's simple, but it's not easy. There are actually frameworks and formulas to follow to do that. And I think that's why a lot of our students have been able to find success, but it is not easy, right? It's simple, but it's not, you got to work a little bit. But I think that is the fun part about it. And I think, what I'm so grateful for, like being living proof of it, where it's like, I look at my people and I'm like, I believe in you 100% because I was you. I shouldn't have won the game and I won the game. And because of that, I think I have the advantage of saying, yes, like, so for all those that are like, I'm not sure if I believe in myself, you can rely on Catherine Jones believing in you because I've walked the path.
I love it. That's perfect to end on. Catherine, thank you so much for spending some time and hanging out with us.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Again, like we're going to figure out how we have at least a monthly series. Like Catherine's back, right? So please share with everybody where they can find you, where they can connect with you, and we will go ahead and close it down for now.
Yes. If you guys want to learn how to build your own 7-figure movement, I actually have a 5-day free training. designhacking.com/workshop. I think that's probably the best place. From there, are you kidding me? We'll tell you how to follow us on Instagram and everywhere else, but designhacking.com/workshop if you want to be walked through step-by-step how to launch and scale your own 7-figure movement.
Woohoo! All right. Thank you. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.